Calvin Harris on Communication Breakdown. In the studio, we've got Jeremy Dillon. How are you?
I'm great, thanks, Emmeline.
Thank you for coming back on the show. You are becoming quite the regular now.
I'm the returning champion, am I?
Yes, you are. We love it when we have regular guests. We are back on the show because you are promoting your latest piece of work, which is really exciting. It's a documentary that you are releasing soon. Can you tell us all about it right now?
Well, it's called Jim Lauderdale, the King of Broken Hearts, and as the title may suggest, it's a documentary film about two-time Grammy-winning bluegrass singer, hit country songwriter, radio DJ, award show host, harmony singer for Elvis Costello, Tai Chi master and actor Jim Lauderdale.
Wow, quite the man.
That's quite a CV.
Yes, that's pretty intense. And this documentary you made about him, it's all about his life, is it? And obviously his many achievements.
Yes, it's a celebration of his life and career and sort of all the different paths he's travelled down over the course of his long and storied 50-something years.
Can you tell us a little bit about the process, how long you spent with Jim and then the process beyond the filming?
Last June, I got some money together of my own and self-funded a trip to Nashville with my Canon 60D and some filming gear, and a great Nashville cameraman named Brett Johnson helped me out, and we went around and shot interviews with Jim and Buddy Miller and Tony Brown and Jerry Douglas and Gary Allen and a bunch of other people. Jim and I drove down to North Carolina together, and I shot him being inducted into the Blue Ridge Hall of Fame in North Carolina, and it was a fantastic 2 weeks of getting to hang out in one of my favourite cities in the world, trying to put together this the story of this guy who is so beloved in Nashville. There wasn't a person who I ran into who, when I told them what I was working on, they didn't say, "Oh, that's fantastic, at last, someone's telling this guy's story."
After you spent 2 weeks, how long did you spend editing the project together?
Well, that was actually a much, much longer process because I hadn't really gone into it with any kind of preset storyline. I wanted to sort of organically discover that as I shot, so I came back with all these about 12 hours of interview footage and a bunch of archival and concert footage, and I had to sort of go through that and work out, so what's the most interesting angles to take here? Over the course of about 6 months, I mean, this wasn't the only thing I was working on, but through towards the end of last year, I began putting this together, and I did an initial cut, and then I got some feedback on that, and then refined it down, and I delivered the more or less final edit to the Country Music Channel in December last year. And once they said they were happy with it, and Jim was happy with it, which was, of course, the most important thing, that was sort of when I was done.
That's awesome.
Jeremy, would you like to tell us just a bit about Jim's life?
Jim started out as a banjo-playing Beatles fan in North Carolina. He said seeing the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show really changed his life. And he actually studied mime at the North Carolina School of the Performing Arts, and then moved to New York to become a singer-songwriter. That was his dream, to become a country singer-songwriter. And in the early 80s, after the film Urban Cowboy came out, everyone in New York was wearing cowboy boots and cowboy hats, and there were all these country music clubs springing up. And then later he moved to LA and got discovered by Pete Anderson, who was this producer who had just been having a lot of hits with a guy named Dwight Yoakam at the time. And he and Jim did a record together, and Pete told him, "Jim, you've got 8 smash hit songs on this. This is going to be a huge record." And then the top brass at the record label all changed, and the new guys came in and said, "Sorry, don't hear any hits on this," so they didn't put the album out.
Oh my gosh.
That's harsh.
That sucks, yeah.
So then Jim made another record called Planet of Love. The label said, "There's a song on this record called Maybe, which is going to be a huge pop single." So they spent about 6 months trying to market it to pop radio, and they made this horrible music video of Jim wearing a pink velvet shirt. And then by the time it came out, they'd sort of lost interest in promoting it, and that sort of went away. But what happened when that came out was that it was really big within the industry in Nashville. And a legendary producer named Tony Brown, who used to be Elvis Presley's piano player, and is now best known for producing a guy named George Strait, who's one of the biggest country stars in America. And he got a copy of that record of Jim's, and there were two songs on it, one called Where the Sidewalk Ends and the other called The King of Broken Hearts. He cut those with George Strait on George Strait's current record that he was making, and that album went on to sell 6 million copies, and that really launched Jim's career as a songwriter.
Okay, so the documentary is basically that story, his journey right from the beginning to where it is now, in a 60-minute format, did you say?
Indeed.
And the exciting news about it all is that, as you said before, the Country Music Channel will be playing it. Can you give us the details of that?
Sure. It's going to premiere on CMC, channel 815, I think, on Foxtel and Ozstar boxes tomorrow night at 7 p.m, and then you'll be able to catch it on Wednesday 9 a.m, Sunday the 11th 1 p.m and 10 p.m, Monday March 12th at 8 p.m, Tuesday the 13th of March at 2 p.m, and Friday the 23rd of March at 1 p.m. And if you want to catch Jim in person, he'll be in the country a week from Saturday, playing at CMC Rocks the Hunter, the music festival up in the Hunter Valley.
Cool. We'll post all of those details onto our Facebook at Communication Breakdown, just in case you missed them.
Good on you.
And where is the project going from here?
I always had in the back of my mind when I was making this that there were going to be two versions of the film. One, a hour-long version for television, and CMC had already expressed an interest while I was making that. And then I thought, to really do justice to the scope of Jim's story, it was going to have to be a feature version. And just because of the time constraints and the fact that I was funding it all myself, there were things I couldn't get the first time around. Like, I almost had an interview with Elvis Costello and they didn't end up happening. So some of the stuff like that I would like to get for a feature version of it. And at the moment I'm trying to put together funding to go back to the States in April, May this year to finish that off.
So if people are interested in kind of hearing a bit more about the direction that's going, or offering a bit of support, where could they go?
They could go to jimlauderdalemovie.com and they'll find all the details there.
Okay, we'll put that up on the Facebook as well. All those details that you need. We're going to finish it now with one of his tracks, Always on the Outside. Why'd you choose this one quickly?
Well, this is one of my favourite Jim Lauderdale songs, and it's great because even though he's best known for his country and bluegrass work, this is basically an R&B song, and he wrote it with Nick Lowe, the legendary new wave producer, member of Rockpile and producer of Elvis Costello, who's actually touring here in a few weeks. So I just think this is great because it shows the range of Jim's work.
Well, that's really exciting. We're going to play that right now. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on again. It's always a pleasure.
It's been great, guys. Thanks so much for having me on.
No worries.
Until next time.
Yeah, congratulations on the success of this as well. You've been listening to Communication Breakdown. This is Always on the Outside.
I'm interested to see if you can work skipple music into your next project.
He'll be able to do it.